Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Greater Houston Partnership's 2017 State of Texas Medical Center Address. Please welcome the President and CEO of the Greater Houston Partnership, Bob Harvey.
My name is Bob Harvey. I'm the President and CEO of the Greater Houston Partnership. It is my pleasure to welcome you to the Partnership's annual State of the Texas Medical Center event. And we're very excited today to have the new, still relatively new President and CEO of the TMC, Bill McKeon, speaking today, delivering remarks. I'm looking forward to hearing Bill. Now, as the world's largest medical center, the TMC is also considered the 8th largest business district in the United States. And because TMC is continually recognized as a global leader in clinical care, medical education, research, and innovation, the annual State of the Texas Medical Center is an important opportunity for all of us to hear about the great progress we're making in the community and in TMC in the area of life sciences. Now, last week, the partnership and Mayor Turner co-hosted a trade mission to China. Mayor Turner and I led that delegation. It included Dr. Giuseppe Calisardo at UT Health. It included Brian Dean from Memorial Hermann TMC, and it included Dr. Bernard Harris on the board of TMC. And we led a delegation of 72 people to China, the largest trade mission we've ever had at the partnership, showing both the interest in Houston vis-a-vis China, but also China vis-a-vis Houston. And I will tell you, having been there 4 years ago when the discussion was all about energy, the recurring discussion on this trip to 3 cities was all about TMC, what's happening in Houston and life sciences. And of course, as many of you know, China is just now facing up to the real challenge they have delivering quality health care to their population. And they see us, frankly, as the partner that they would like to have for that endeavor. Now, we met with the senior planning organization in China, the NDRC, if you're familiar with that structure, the senior planning body, and they expressed the desire to partner with TMC, Bill, with respect to this medical city that's being proposed at the new Beijing airport. I'm sure that wouldn't be taxing on your organization at all to help them on that. But we visited Shanghai, we visited Shenzhen, we visited Beijing, and in all 3 of those cities, the topic of conversation was how they could link in with our activity here in Houston. So it was great to see that our reputation, and Bill, you won't be surprised, I mean, they talk at the level of TMC, but they also talk at the level of the key institutions in TMC. They understand better than I thought they did the basic structure of the organization. So a lot more I think we'll hear and see in the future with respect to that relationship with China. But we're coming back to TMC. As you all know, we have about 10 million patient visits a year at TMC across those institutions. Many, many people seek treatment at TMC. We have $1 billion or more, Bill, you'll correct me in your remarks, $1 billion or more of research expenditure across the TMC, over 110,000 employees. I think your number is always a little bit higher than mine, employees working at TMC. It's an incredible driver of our local economy and frankly of our reputation as an innovative city. And it's really the role of TMC, in my mind, to cultivate that cross-institutional collaboration, creativity, and innovation at TMC. And as a result, TMC is emerging as a leader in commercialization, turning research into results that facilitates patient care in Houston and across the globe. And with the addition of TMCX in the last few years, Johnson & Johnson J Labs, AT&T Foundry, J&J Medical Devices, and other activity, we have really moved forward in the areas particularly of early stage digital health, I believe, and medical device companies, and other areas as well. So we look forward to hearing today much more about the plans for TMC, TMCX, TMC3, TMC, you must have another acronym coming, and how the campus is continuing to evolve as a home of collaborative research. So with that, well, let me just mention one other aside. Recently, the partnership and many of you in the city of Houston and others were involved with putting together the proposal for the Amazon second headquarters, HQ2. And as we worked on that proposal, we began to realize that what we really had that was uniquely Houston to offer up to Amazon was this thing that we gave a name to in the course of working on it, which was the Innovation Corridor. This area of activity, roughly 4 miles long, with TMC and Rice at the southern end, the Museum District and Midtown in the middle, and downtown at the north end, centered around the Red Line, the transit asset. And I had to joke with Ed Wolf that idea he had so many years ago that there would be value in building this thing, this red line in the center of the city, would actually bear fruit, and it bore fruit in that discussion. And of course, if you draw a circle around that, you pick up University of Houston and Texas Southern on the east side, you pick up the Montrose area and all that innovation activity, and University of St. Thomas on the west side. So we really bring so many attributes of Houston in the area of innovation and the convergence between traditional industry and the new emerging digital world comes together in that discussion. But I will tell you, the idea really originated with thinking about how do we feature the innovation at TMC more clearly in the proposal to Amazon. So we built that proposal. Now, I don't have any progress to report. We sent them that proposal now a month ago. That process is operating in total silence. We hope to hear something in the new year. Of course, we hope to be part of a second round with Amazon. But I'll tell you, this idea of this innovation corridor is bigger than the Amazon proposal. It really is a proposal we'll use with other technology companies all around the country as they think about expanding their presence in Houston. So again, thank you, Bill. Thank you, TMC. Thank you to all the member institutions. Now, in my view, Texas Medical Center's vision is to transform its research into results that have an impact beyond our region. And I think I speak for everyone when I say how thrilled we are as a community with what's happening at TMC and across the institutions. So let me move on. Let me turn your attention, if you would, to a short video acknowledging some of the key individuals that have made today's event possible.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us today. Your generous support is essential to the success of the Greater Houston Partnership and its mission of making Houston greater. Please join us in thanking today's sponsors. Today's State of Texas Medical Center Gold sponsors are AECOM, Direct Energy, Texas Medical Center. Our silver sponsors are Bracewell LLP, PwC. Today's bronze sponsors are DPR Construction, Harris County Hospital District Foundation, HOK, Texas A&M University, the University of Texas MD Anderson Cancer Center, UT Health, UTMB Health. Our photography underwriter is PKF Texas. Also, thanks to our staging partner, JSAV, and our production partner, Vision. The Greater Houston Partnership would like to express our appreciation to the members of Houston's Consular Corps for their work to establish positive foreign relations between the Houston region and their respective countries. Their leadership is invaluable to building and maintaining the region's key international relationships. The Greater Houston Partnership would also like to acknowledge our elected officials, the men and women who represent Houston at the local, state, and federal level, for their dedication and commitment to our region. Please join us in thanking all of our sponsors, members of the Consular Corps, and our elected officials.
Let me just say thank you again to our sponsors who make this event possible. But I would like to come back to our elected officials. I'm only aware of a couple of elected officials who are here, and I would ask the two of you to rise when I give your names and just remain standing. First, State Senator John Whitmire. John, where are you? Oh, right there. John, thank you. And City of Clear Lake Shores Mayor Pro Tem Amanda Fenwick. Amanda, there you are. Thank you. Thanks for being here. As was mentioned in the tape, we do have representatives of the Consular Corps here. Would the members of the Consular Corps please stand and let us recognize you? Where did you? Oh, there you go. Thank you. Appreciate you being here. And since this is the last State of event of the year, I do want to particularly recognize the members of the board of the Greater Houston Partnership that are here. We had our final board meeting yesterday, and I would say there has never been, in my mind, a more eventful year than this year, with the highs of the Super Bowl, the success of the pension reform effort, successfully battling off the bathroom bill, then the hurricane, which was a real hardship, but yet in many ways presented Houston at its very best, and then the incredible high with the Astros winning the World Championship. What a year. I don't think the board of the partnership can take credit for all of that, Pat, but with the members of the board of the partnership, please stand and let us recognize you. All right, with that, please enjoy your lunch. The program will resume in about 25 minutes. Thank you all for being here.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Gina Luna, CEO, Luna Strategies, LLC.
Good afternoon. Before I get started, I do want to welcome one more elected official. The City of Houston Council Member David Robinson has joined us. If you please stand, we're happy to have you, David. I'm Gina Luna, and I am a past chair of the Greater Houston Partnership, and I'm the current chair of Houston Exponential, which is an organization that was recently formed to champion and grow Houston's innovation ecosystem. And it's great to be here, and it is my pleasure to introduce our speaker and my friend, the President and CEO of the Texas Medical Center, Bill McKeon. Bill joined TMC in 2013 as Executive Vice President, Chief Operating Officer, and Chief Strategy Officer. Earlier this year, Bill was promoted to President and CEO, responsible for driving strategic, operational, and programmatic initiatives across the world's largest and best medical center. Bill grew up in Connecticut, the 9th child of a family of 13 children. I know, wow. He has a Bachelor's of Science in Legal Studies from Roger Williams University and a master's degree from the University of San Francisco School of Management. Prior to joining TMC, Bill had a very successful career working for DuPont all over the world. He also held executive positions at Stanford University Medical Center, Raytail Medical Systems, US Oncology, Medtronic, Microport, and Cellnovo. In each of these companies, Bill had a significant impact, driving growth and innovation. Now, the Houston and the Texas Medical Center are the fortunate beneficiaries of Bill's unique and effective leadership. His ability to dream big and think about what's possible, and then help others understand and embrace his vision, and most importantly, execute quickly to make it a reality, is really nothing short of remarkable. He surrounds himself with a team of talented and motivated professionals, inspires them with his passion and confidence, and empowers them to make amazing things happen. Under Bill's leadership, the role of the Texas Medical Center has changed from that of providing physical infrastructure and services like parking and laundry to providing innovation infrastructure, creating an environment where the best and brightest from all the TMC institutions work together to make life-saving and life-changing medical advancements and commercialize those discoveries into entrepreneurial ventures that will eventually create huge economic impact for our region. The collaboration that Bill is leading among all the institutions in the Texas Medical Center is helping transform Houston into one of the great innovation cities of the world. The creation of TMCX and the partnership with companies like J-Labs and AT&T and the development of world-class research programs have legitimately positioned Houston as the third coast for healthcare innovation and commercialization in a very short time. And we're just getting started. TMC3 will accelerate this momentum exponentially. Bill's passion for his work and his family and for Houston are evident in all that he says and he does. In addition to being an incredible leader and executive with tremendous responsibility, he's just a first-class guy that's really fun to work with and great to be around. I like him a lot, I learn from him all the time, and I admire him deeply. So I don't want to steal Bill's thunder, but I can tell you in just a few words the state of the Texas Medical Center. It's red hot and getting better every day. Please welcome Bill McKeon.
Good afternoon, everyone. I think we're going to have a lot of fun. I'm going to try to take you on an incredible journey to see all that has happened in the Texas Medical Center, largely from the great institutions I have the privilege to work with. But I'd be remiss if I didn't first take you through some really important people in our community. First, our chairman, Mr. Holcomb Croswell. This person, please don't hesitate. Many of you know Holcomb, but he's dedicated his entire life to the Texas Medical Center. You've seen him throughout, from Texas Children's to TMC, really plays a significant role. But one thing I've learned about when you meet great people, great men and women, there's always someone arguably even greater by their side, and that's Emily Croswell. I love this picture. If anyone's ever met Emily Croswell, she's a force of nature, and they're a wonderful couple. And I'm really blessed to work with Holcomb every day. He's just been wise, he's a great guide, and really thoughtful. And I'd like to ask all the board members of the Texas Medical Center Board, please stand and be recognized, because these are the engine of ingenuity. And I'm not sure many people know this, but one of the things that under Holcomb's leadership that we really decided and changed is we changed our board structure. It hadn't changed in 70 years. And we really wanted to have the leadership of the medical center, the CEOs of all of our great major institutions and universities be part of it. So I'm delighted to ask for all of the advisory board members of the Texas Medical Center to please stand and be recognized. Okay, the best part of my life is this person who, we met in first grade. I chased her for 27 years and she married me. The best part of my life, she has traveled with me. We've lived 17 different places around the world. She has raised our children in China, in London. We've lived in Stockholm, we've lived 17 places. We have a coffee mug with all of the cities that we've lived in. You know, it's easy to take a job. It's really tough to move a family and support your daughters through the, the best part of my life, Polly Finch McKeon.
The Texas Medical Center is the largest medical center on planet Earth. In fact, you can take the second largest and the third largest, combine them, they still don't touch the Texas Medical Center. It's staggering. There are 110,000 employees, 170,000 operations a year. It's the largest collection of doctors on the planet.
The scale here and the quality of excellence here is staggering. More patients come here, more clinical research happens on this campus. It's the highest concentration of awarded scientists in the world, where you can drive from research to clinical care faster than any other place on Earth.
What we're trying to do here is take healthcare innovations and research and turn them into products that can help patients.
This is a partnership between the Texas Medical Center, the member institutions, and industry.
We want the best of the best here, and they are coming, and they're coming in droves. J&J, the largest life science company in the world, here. Next was AT&T. Now we're working with Apple. We are creating this machinery of innovation that is unstoppable. The momentum is real. It's a place that will change the way in which discovery is done.
An innovation that is occurring here is tremendous. That you cannot replicate.
We have an unfair advantage. We're already together on one campus. This is the beginning of building a life sciences industry in Texas.
Yeah, please. So, Bob kind of stole a little bit of my thunder talking about Houston, but what a way to begin the year with the Super Bowl. We got very active down at Super Bowl Live. I think we had, how many people visited that? Millions of people visited that. And also we held a competition for First and Future, where we brought all of the companies around the world to compete for technologies that help protect the human brain, to really align well with the NFL. Our governor gave a great speech there as well. There's my boy, Tommy. I'm from New England, so it was great to bring it here and just watch it up front in Houston. I didn't even have to go back to New England and watch that great game. And what about this? What about come on. And I don't know if all of you know this, but Sportsmen of the Year, Mr. Altuve and J.J. Watt were Houston strong, absolutely. I asked them to come so they could be recognized, but suddenly I just didn't return my call. I'm not sure why. We'll work on that. And then obviously we've all been through the largest environmental storm to ever hit the United States. And it was a storm that obviously destroyed many people's lives, but what was really great, as Bob said before, it brought us to a place where we pulled together in a way that it's amazing. So for people that remember Allison, 41 inches over a longer period of time. Harvey, 3 days, 51.88 inches actually. And what's a great part of the tale of these two storms is after Allison, where we had $2 billion of losses, wiped out literally all of the research that we had on our campus. We made huge investments, over $50 million, and we got to thank our leaders in government that supported this, $50 million, and really proud to say that even though we had cars floating down the center of the Texas Medical Center, every single one of our hospitals remained operational throughout. The interesting thing, though, is we became an island. I mean, the people that came and worked through the night for 6 days, we were locked really as an island. So we're going to need help and access by air. We already have one of the busiest life flight programs in the country. We had actual helicopters stacking up around us. We had 20 Blackhawks coming in, Coast Guard, and our 8 life flight programs working time and time. So by the air was really the best way. So we've got to figure out ways to elevate some of those roadways, because when faculty can't get in and patients can't get in, it's great to have the largest medical city in the world, but we need to have it accessible. So we're going to need a lot of the great leaders in this room now to help us to address that in the future, because I've done my reading, and anyone that wants to debate with me if the world is not warming and that we're not going to be facing many of those, I'll take you on right after this. Maybe we'll do it live. But this is the amazing thing. This is a picture of so many people that came through those 6 days. Now remember, their lives, many of them were devastated as well. I could tell you, and I get kind of choked up even talking about the stories of physicians at MD Anderson waded through wastewater out of his home to actually perform a procedure of a patient that was a time procedure that needed to happen, and waded in and performed it. And it's just, there's thousands of those stories of this great collection, the largest collection of nurses and physicians in the world, and how much they gave to really support our community is really amazing. They also didn't just stay on the campus. They found ways to get, and when Mayor Turner called and said, we need physicians down to basically care for about 1,000 to 2,000 people at the George R. Brown, turned out almost 10,000 patients we supported. Baylor team, UT Health team, sent their teams down there and just really performed miraculously, supporting our community shelters, not just at George R. Brown, but other places around. So miraculous thing to go to where the people needed this care. And these are the heroes. I mean, when you look at the people here, the great things that Mayor Turner, we were on calls with Mayor Turner's office every day, and then with Judge Emmett's, They really performed miraculously at a time that no one could predict of where do you get vehicles, how do you get boats. I think many lives were saved when Judge Emmett called everyone. I got a call from a friend in Dallas that there was a traffic jam in Dallas of cars and boats on trailers leaving Dallas to get down here. So it really was amazing to see how much the people came to the aid of our city at a time when we really couldn't even help ourselves in many areas. So going forward, when we look at our major institutions, and that's the greatest part about this, is there's not a day that I drive into the medical center that I'm not enamored of these great assets that we have. And their stories, you often hear them individually, but to tell them collectively. Mark Boone, brilliant physician, continues to treat patients and run one of the largest and best medical centers anywhere. He was managing 8 hospitals at the time that Harvey hit, and I talked to him almost every day. And look, ranked #1 hospital in Texas for 6 years from US News and World Report. And by the way, I'm going to fly through these because I want to cover all of them. They're really important. They've got a new 366-bed tower, the Paula and Rusty Walter Tower, going up. It's spectacular. It's opening in June. And in Houston, I mean, look at where the Texas Medical Center is not about Houston. Its arms and tentacles are reaching out. We have the great UTMB down in Galveston, the Woodlands to Katy, and you'll even hear further in the state later on, but they opened this in June. Texas Children's, Mark Walls. They always send me this picture, and I think he's part of our regenerative medicine program because I gotta tell you, he looks good. He looks really good. But obviously they've opened the 2nd community hospital in the Woodlands, and they're all spectacular. Here's something really fascinating. They're moving to Austin. They're expanding into Austin with 19 pediatric practices, 4 urgent care, 3 specialty. Really amazing medical center, and this is a huge award. #1 in cardiology and heart surgery in the country. You got a baby that has a heart problem, this is where you want to be. Baylor College of Medicine, Dr. Paul Klopman, he's just been a wonderful colleague. When you talk about collaboration, he gets it. He's a real steward from it. A lot of people don't realize that, almost 10 years ago when the first human genome was sequenced, a third of that work happened at Baylor College of Medicine. It is one of, it is one of the best genomics platforms in the country, and they're working on the ENCODE. So the work is not done on the human genome, and the more that we get into defining out the functional elements of this, it's really one of 8 mapping centers in the country doing this. They also received a $500 million grant, part of the genome sequencing for the National Heart and Lung Blood Institute. Again, these are the top in the world, and they're part of the Zika Phase 2 project as well. Tropical medicine program is terrific, as is the one at UTMB. Harris Health. Well, if you're running the largest emergency room in the United States, you need a colonel from the Army to do it. And this is what George Macy is. Tremendous individual. They are the #1 trauma center in the country. Think about that. That's pretty amazing. They've done a lot of things. They're adding more and more ambulatory centers. And this fact, when you look at a 0.2%, so if you're doing outpatient surgery, more than 4% is the average will end up in a hospital at one point. They barely have any patients that ever are treated in outpatient that ever end up in a hospital. That's excellence and something that they're very proud of. Now, be ready for this. Robotics are coming, and they're coming hard at the Texas Medical Center. Your prescriptions are often filled by robots now. And so they've put in this. It fills 1.3 million prescriptions this year. It's a robot. They call that the Tiger Claw. It just grabs the prescriptions and does it. And robots, I hate to say it, in some cases are actually stronger than humans on error. One of the newest leaders, Dr. Carrie Byington, is such a breath of fresh air. And if you look at what A&M is doing here, I gotta tell you, Aggies, howdy, because they are coming strong further into the Texas Medical Center. They just purchased 5.2 acres at Bank of America building that you see right at the end of Main Street. They're there, and they're doing some really great things. Carrie is just a wonderful person, is well known around the country for her research and expertise. She was at Utah. And what they're building here is fascinating. They're doing it with Methodists. This NHealth or NMed, imagine the mind of an engineer and graduating from school now with an MD and a master's in engineering, or also a PhD in engineering. And part of what they're doing with this NMed program, they're taking the best of Methodist and putting together the best of A&M to create this program. It's fascinating, and they just recently announced, talk about a star to lead this up. This is the person, National Academy of Medicine and the National Academy of Engineering. Very similar background academically with me. Founding director of the National Institute of Biomedical Imaging. Dr. Pettigrew is, I remember they were about to tell me, and I was with Chancellor, and he asked Carrie if he could tell me, and she said no. So they kept it secret, but it was worth the wait. They're really incredible. CHI St. Luke's, Gay Nord, another new leader on the team doing an outstanding job as president of Baylor St. Luke's. And you might have read in the news the other day that this acquisition between Dignity Health and Catholic Health makes it the largest Catholic health system in the United States. It's pretty exciting what's going to happen there. Rice University, a dear friend, David Lebron, one of the most interesting people in the world. If you want to have dinner with someone, he can take you in all directions, although he claims that everyone really has dinner with him to have dinner with his wife, Ping. And he's maybe right on some of those occasions, but he is really in his, I think, 9 or 10 year time with Rice, really transformed. This is a project, he just came back from this. They're down to the finalists for this MacArthur Foundation first 100 million grant in Chicago, and he just returned last night. They're in the running for this. This will really have impact on 500,000 babies in Africa. It's really exciting how far they reach with their programs. The Kinder Foundation, as one of the things that people don't realize about how prolific Rice is, a lot of the textbooks that are being used around Texas, and it's growing where Rice is dominating that, they create digital textbooks that when you're learning and you fail to answer a college level class or answer a question, it understands and learns along with you and changes and asks a question in a different way. Some people are visual, so it really learns. So the book alongside of the student is learning how you learn and feeding those questions to you in a way that you can best digest them. It's really exciting what's happening at Rice. And this is James Tour that is basically making motorized molecules that basically drill into the cells to deliver, to either kill or to deliver therapy to cell membranes. It's pretty exciting. MD Anderson, a newest member to the party, Dr. Peter Pisters. We welcome him home and back to Houston. He was with the MD Anderson for many years, went up to Toronto, did some really amazing things up there, building out their innovation ecosystem in Canada, and is just joining us. And no tall feat. You just have to be #1 in cancer center in the world. And so that's an easy job to take on. But we really welcome him. He's a tremendous individual, and we're really excited to have him aboard. University of Houston. Anyone that knows Dr. Renu Couture has to be blown away. She is, talk about energy. I just saw her last night, and what she has done with the University of Houston is just really amazing, and she's not stopping there. We just announced that the University of Houston Board of Regents approved building a medical school, so she's up and running and helping that. The way that they're approaching it is very unique, addressing the underserved population. So it will be working definitely with the Texas Medical Center, but to build a medical school is something she's really passionate about. They've renamed the nursing school to the Houston College of Nursing, and no small feat, raised $1 billion. She's already raised 785 of it. I mean, that is pretty spectacular speed, so never bet against Renu Couture on anything. She's really quite an amazing woman. Memorial Hermann. Another new leader, Chuck Stokes, tremendous person that had been at Memorial Hermann for many years, just a really smart, kind individual, really excited for them. Tier, anyone that knows about brain injury, I actually have a family member just undergoing some issues right now, and I wish I could fly her in here to be treated here because it is the best of the best, a really incredible program. They just had a donation from the Seraphim family to the Seraphim Pavilion. This is a 15-story patient care tower. And they're expanding now the Great Life Right program, which is, I think, one, if not one or two, as the busiest in, they're taking it to the Woodlands and to Memorial Hermann Southwest. So expand. A lot of people think that the Life Flight helicopters sit on our campus. They actually don't. They're spokes. They're out in the community so they can get to accidents, get to events, to get people as soon as possible, and they treat them all the way through until they deliver them to the roofs of our buildings. So it's a really incredible program. They also recently won the Malcolm Bridge National Quality Award. It's the highest award for quality that you can win. Really an incredible feat around quality, which will be all about our future. DeBakey, I'm not sure people, another new member, Francisco Velasquez, great individual, spent some time with him just about 2 weeks ago. I don't know many people know, it's the second largest VA in the country, right here on our campus, and that's only one piece of it that you're seeing here. They've just done their 100th liver transplant in their program, their National VA Transplant Conference, and also they've just expanded their Women's Health Center. They've just done a grand opening where they provide digital mammography. UT Health, and I actually got one from my friend Giuseppe Colasardo, and last in, so I already had these slides, but wait, there's one more after it. So some great things. So they just got a $25 million grant for the Jane and Robert Cizik School of Nursing, which is really terrific. Secondly, I don't know if you know this, but this is the only the first in the country, mobile stroke center. That you see that they go out into the areas because everyone understands when you have a stroke, first 6 minutes can determine your life. And so this is pretty exciting. And also they have they're part of a $500 million NIH contract between Baylor College of Medicine, UT Health, and Harvard, genetic underpinnings of heart and blood lung disease. Really exciting things happening here. And before I move on, I should also say that this is just in. They've just won a $125 million grant to create the UT Health Continuum of Care, extending what we need in this city more than anything, more adult and children's psychiatric care. Senator Whitmire played a huge role. So Senator, thank you very much for that. So, I mean, it just keeps on coming. I mean, we put these slides together 2 days ago, so I'm probably missing some that are happening as well. So let's shift now to talk about the collaborative updates, because many people might not know, but we actually set out a strategic plan, and unlike a lot of strategic plans where they sit on the shelf about a month afterwards, no one looks at them, they collect dust, and you remember when you kumbaya'd after all that effort. Well, I have to tell you, we're knocking down every single one of these, and we're doing them quickly. So let's take you through on the health policy. We recruited the great Dr. Tim Garson, who was originally here as a pediatric cardiologist and a dean at Baylor. We brought him back from UVA to head it up. And this is a brief video to tell you a little bit about it.
There has never been a larger collection of experts in health policy that have come together in one institution than at the Texas Medical Center. And imagine if we could come together and speak collectively on health policy issues that we all face together. And that's where we formed our Health Policy Institute.
It's not a bad place to start to say what's health policy. And health policy are really the concepts that underlie what governments do for the health of the people. And so our job is really to move policy forward, move legislation, regulations forward.
We're on the front lines of delivering health care, so we need to be proactive in terms of getting our suggestions over to Austin and over to DC so that those ideas can be incorporated into policymaking.
Sometimes we didn't know how to interpret what was being done. We didn't respond to legislation that was passed.
Because there's more going on here than just the clinical care. We're a brain trust here when it comes to policy research.
The lack of access to adequate, culturally competent health care, that was a big issue.
Why wasn't there more of a direct needs assessment of the health care of the children?
We can contribute to virtually anything in policy, and our idea is to put out op-eds, white papers, seminars, grant meetings, to be able to educate not only ourselves in the medical center, but the public.
We're going to see policy-oriented researchers arising from across these institutions and collaborating in ways they hadn't in the past.
That's the motive of creating an institute like this.
The quality of excellence here is staggering. The greatest collection of health policy experts in the world speaking with one voice from the Texas Medical Center.
So I'm going to actually skip through slides here because I want to make sure we get all of this in, but let's cut into innovation. One of the greatest recruits in my career was Dr. Eric Halverson. I started the Innovation Institute and ran it for a year and a half, maybe two. And we set out to really recruit someone that had great expertise about innovation and really passionate about it. Eric spent time at Harvard, part of the Harvard stem cell program. He was at Boston Children's. He had really a great depth of experience, and just want to recognize, take a stand over there, Eric. He's done an amazing job with the Innovation Institute. He's wearing a cool shirt because, you know, in the innovation, you got to hang out with all the startup people. So he's always kind of cool. I usually give him a hard time about his shirts. But take a look at this slide. This is the cookie factory, the Nabisco cookie factory, that we're transforming into so many areas. So we started out with TMCX, an accelerator, and that's about 60,000 square feet of space dedicated, and really it's dedicated to all the member institutes to have their young physicians and nurses, technicians, really any idea that they have, we want to bring it together and wrap around all the resources that you need. And it is now well known around the country. It's the largest life science incubator accelerator in the country, and we started 2.5 years ago. So this is Texas big. Our TMC Biodesign program, these are the teams that come from all around the world. Over 1,000 applications for 8 positions. These are some of the best, and these are people that are MDs, they're venture capitalists, they're technology people that come together, and they're not hammers looking for nails. They spend 5 months in the hospitals with these top physicians around this, from all these institutions, and then they define out about 50 problems and they narrow it down. I just saw the results from these 2 teams last night, and they're just really fascinating, and they're already building products. So they start in, they identify the clinical needs, they go and invent, and they implement it. So in the year time, they actually come out and create the product and take it into the next stage. So it's really exciting. Now into TMC X Plus, that's a co-working space that we have here. It's been sold out 2 weeks after we opened it. We need more space, we really do, but it's great because we give it to the companies at break-even costs, so they're not burning their money and they're actually investing it into their technology, into their people. The next one is X Plus, and then as we go forward, we're going to look at J Labs. So we got together with Johnson & Johnson. They were going to build it in another part of the country. We said, you need to come to Houston and see what many people don't see unless you're here. And the reaction that you've all seen, everyone says the same thing. I had no idea. I had no idea. Bigger than Philadelphia as a business. I love that. I say that to a friend of mine from Philadelphia. So now the last one is the Center for Device Innovation. Is Dr. Billy Cohn here in the room? Or you're going to see a movie of him anyway, so it doesn't matter. But there he is, right there, with his rip saw cutting. Most people just use the scissors, not Billy. Billy is one of the most talented heart surgeons that's been at the Texas Heart Center for most of his career. He was at Harvard before then. And he has over 80 patents, 80 patents. He's created, I think, somewhat in the area of 14 companies, and we recruited him to run this. So I want to show you a brief video about Billy.
When I'm working in my garage, it's really wonderful. Turn my cell phone ringer off and try to get really focused on what I'm doing. Rains a lot in Houston. I love it when it's raining outside because I know no one's going to bother me. And I can just sit there and tinker. For the last 20 years, most of the innovation I've done has been in my garage shop. And it's a wonderful place, and I love working there. But I hope this can be what my garage always aspired to be. A place where a lot of bright, hardworking, passionate people can let their ideas flow. The CDI, or Center for Device Innovation, is a brand new concept conceived of by Johnson & Johnson to try to accelerate development of breakthrough medical technologies, leveraging the incredible resources of the Texas Medical Center.
There's a ton of innovation going on within the medical center across all of these hospitals and research organizations, but they don't necessarily have the resources or a pathway to get those great ideas or even those prototypes, to get them built, to get them bench tested, lab tested, and validated.
Medical devices, biotechnologies, pharmaceuticals are at a tipping point because we have the most intellectually capable people and access to technologies to develop these. But there's a draw and a push on how we finance them, how we get people behind them, how we grow them, how we regulate them. And so we need to bring all those players together in order to really capitalize on what might be the most prolific time in our history to invent and create new patient care capabilities.
When Johnson & Johnson Medical Devices is looking for opportunities for new innovation, we're looking for solutions that address genuine unmet needs.
The legacy of innovation at Johnson & Johnson is literally a century old. It's been the leader in medical devices, led revolutions like minimally invasive surgery.
And the way we've always done it is it's a combination of getting to know others that are working in these spaces and bringing external technology inside of J&J.
What excites me most about the Center for Device Innovation is all that expertise is in one place.
What Johnson & Johnson's created in the Texas Medical Center is truly unique. In this 26,000 square foot facility are all the state-of-the-art cutting-edge prototyping machines you could ever want. 3D printers, laser cutter, water jet, CNC mills, lathes, everything. If that weren't enough, we're 1 mile from the largest medical center on the planet, 54 member institutions.
Now our entrepreneurs can come in with early stage devices and really have all the experts around them to actually develop those further, to test them, to really hone that expertise into the development of a medical device so that the life cycle not only continues but carries all the way on to commercialization.
With J&J here and able to form that partnership with these innovative researchers and clinicians, I think that's a huge bonus for everybody and increases the likelihood that we're going to get some new and better products developed.
CDI for us is just another evolution in finding new creative ways to access innovative people who are trying to do things to improve healthcare and outcomes for patients.
This is the future growth area for the city and one of the most exciting opportunities in our 70-year history.
CDI at TMC may be the new model for medical device innovation. Do startups with the startup mania and the startup DNA inside a big company with the support of the big company to prop it up.
And that could be not just our contribution to Johnson & Johnson, but our contribution to the entire medical device industry. There is no greater feeling than helping a patient recover from a major illness. But if you come up with a great innovation, that helps populations. That's exciting.
Man, if this place turns out to be half of what I think it could be, this is the job I've always dreamed of.
It's pretty amazing. Just some stats a lot of people ask. We started 3 years ago, probably 2, 3, 4 companies came out of the Texas Medical Center. We have 130 coming out a year now. 146 million raised, and most importantly for these companies, 172 agreements and pilots signed with amazing medical center leaders around these tables. It's a really powerful move for us. So I wanted to tell you we're not done. We have TMC XI. You're right, Bob. I'm doing the X thing again. The I is for industry, and we are developing right now. We'll open it in June. Gutting the whole space, and we already have venture capitalists that want to come in there. We've got technology leaders that want to be right beside all the things that are happening here. It's part of a long vision. And finally, the last piece, I want to announce the TMC Venture Fund. We announced 2 weeks ago our incredible generous board where we put aside $25 million to really start to fund all of these companies. We've already made 5 investments before we even announced the fund. And I want you to see, this is the investment committee made up of a lot of the leaders from each of our institutions that really decide this. And again, a brief little video on some of the things that we're going to see that are already coming out of the medical center.
My name is Jake Kriegel. I'm CEO of Alleviant Medical. The medical device that we're developing is a minimally invasive transcatheter system targeting congestive heart failure. One of the reasons why it's so hard to treat is that it's many different conditions that are all kind of converging around this elevated left atrial pressure. We come in through a 4mm puncture in the groin and deliver our device up into the heart, where an expandable blade is used to create a precise connection to join the left and the right atrium. And the key here is that we don't leave anything behind in the heart. That's a major advantage that can really change the treatment landscape for this disease.
CNS Dose is an early-stage growth company, and we fast-track finding the right antidepressant with patients' genetics. Antidepressants are the mainstay of treatment. They only work about half the time, and they're prescribed through trial and error. For the drug to work, it's got to go in your mouth, and then it's got to get to your brain, right? So the two hurdles that we look at is the liver, and then what's called the blood-brain barrier. What we do is we look at liver genetics and brain genetics. Taking that liver and blood-brain barrier genetic information, we really can understand what dose does an individual need for the drug to get into their brain. We boil this down into a one-page report, which provides guidance to the doctor and the patient about the medications that the science suggests should be used and what dose that should occur at.
Medable is transforming healthcare by unlocking new research insights and optimizing patient outcomes through mobile and analytics. We founded Medable to enable research to happen from mobile phones, things like the air quality, the UV index, how far we're walking. Without leveraging mobile, this type of information is never collected in a research study. By using Medable, researchers can capture this really important information about patients and participants. Now we're doing that on clinical care, so doctors can take care of patients by leveraging mobile.
Joining the TMCX program has been really special because we've actually had a true opportunity to interact with a lot of surgeons from different institutions and gain the support and insights that only a place like TMCX can offer us. We've got a great lead institution that we work with, but it wasn't until we came here to Houston that we were really able to expand our network and really get the surgeon feedback that's going to drive this technology forward and make it a success.
Non-Invasics is a company that's commercializing technology that will permit better insights into the amount of oxygen going to premature infants' brains. Everybody's seen pulse oximeters. You put a probe on your finger and you get a number on a screen. That doesn't work for veins. It doesn't work for deeper structures. With optoacoustics, we use the same kind of light, the same wavelengths, but we use a pulsed laser light, and each pulse of laser light generates what in effect is an ultrasound signal. We're currently raising our Series A funding to build a manufacturing prototype that meets the criteria that the FDA would provide clearance for. It's very exciting. It's very exciting.
All right, so I'm going to move quickly because I know I'm going to be conscious of time. We're also, part of our strategic plan, building out a clinical research platform for a single front door for the entire medical center. Right now, today, we have 29 separate IRBs, so if you're J&J or GSK, you'd have to come, and it would probably take you about 2.5 years just to sign the paperwork to have access to these patients. So we're trying to streamline that and having a shared data platform that would allow us to assess the number of patients for a particular trial, and then each institution can opt in voluntarily to be part of that network. So there's a lot going. Regenerative medicine, this is really waiting for TMC3, but we've given out over $2 million grants for multi-institutions to come together, and they're focusing on the areas of cardiology and brain. And genomics, I have to tell you, we've all heard about the Broad before. I think that this platform between Baylor College of Medicine, MD Anderson has an incredible program, UT Health with Eric Boerwinkle and Rice. This is a platform that I think will frankly surpass what's happening at the Broad, and they're coming together, and they would also be part of one of the shared labs would be around genomics in TMC3. So you all asked about TMC3, I know, and this is the last part of this is, there's a term called, and you might have heard about this, called collaboration. No longer is a competition across the street, it's Beijing, it's Shanghai, it's London, it's many other parts of the world. And so that's what we're competing with. In Broad, look at these brands. Harvard and MIT already had tremendous genomics platforms individually, and they decided to really pull together. And overnight, just through collaboration, they became the dominant force on the planet around genomics. And more importantly, the amount of industry that came in to surround around these great scientists. Remember, they kept their logos, so they didn't leave Harvard or leave MIT, but they come together under a single platform, and it's been quite remarkable. There's another thing that's happened. UCSF, when they moved off the hill into the worst part of San Francisco, and I used to live there, and remember, this was kind of a derelict part. It was where the rail cars were. There was a lot of, not a great place. This is 2009, here's 2017. They went from 40 acres to 300 acres developed in a very short period of time and brought $6.5 billion in industry into this space. It's a real construct that when we looked at is, tired of hearing about the West Coast and the East Coast, even as a boy from Connecticut, this is our time, this is our third coast, and we're proud of it. And so coming together, this is a picture of what really the work of 4 great founding partners came together with a vision that instead of building our research buildings individually, as we have for 70 years, could we pull together in a really unique way and leverage the power of the medical center, put all of our researchers, and more importantly, design in collision. So most innovation doesn't happen in a lab. It happens over a beer with a colleague to really talk about things. So we did an impact analysis, just got it back about 2 weeks ago. This would have a $5.2 billion impact on Houston. This is a big stakes game. It's part of what the Greater Houston Partnership, it was one of the top 10 things that they talked about. These are the founding institutions: Texas Medical Center, Baylor, Texas A&M, and MD Anderson and UT under the UT system. Here's a brief video.
The Texas Medical Center treats more patients and conducts more research than anywhere else in the world. A city unto itself, the TMC has over 8 million patient visits a year in 50 million square feet of clinical and research facilities. And now, the Texas Medical Center is building a translational research campus, the TMC3. This innovative life science cluster will be the new nerve center for collaboration to improve the health of humanity. Life-saving medical breakthroughs can only happen at the intersection of patients, doctors, scientists, and industry partners. The TMC3 will leverage shared core laboratories to co-locate the best institutions and brightest minds to accelerate collaboration. The central piazza is the heart of the iconic double helix, surrounded by over 1 million square feet of shared laboratory space, creating an immersive environment to attract and nurture the best talent in the world. The campus will create alliances between institutions and commercial partners to catalyze the development of new drugs, medical devices, and digital health breakthroughs. This live, work, and play ecosystem will foster interactions inside and outside of the laboratory. Walkable green space and exercise facilities will improve mind, body, and spirit, not only for our researchers, but for the community at large. Restaurants, retail, housing, all anchored by the TMC3 Hotel and Conference Center. By combining our collective resources, the TMC3 may well turn out to be Houston's most impactful gift to the world.
Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. Be safe out there. Bob, over to you.
Chestnuts roasting on an open fire.
Actually reminds me of the recent trip to China. If there's anything that's become pervasive in China at this time of year, it's Merry Christmas. It has absolutely taken over China. Now, I admit it's a totally secular definition of Christmas, but it has taken over. Bill, thank you so much. What a great set of remarks. We're so excited about all that's happening, but all the potential. And we really want to get behind. I know you're putting a lot of energy into TMC3, and we want to make that happen. I want to recognize one elected official who's come in since we started. Now, I have to be careful here because the partnership is nonpartisan. Really. But we recognize elected officials who do their work well, and even when that draws opposition because they refuse to get on someone else's agenda. So I want to recognize Representative Sarah Davis, who's here. Thanks, sir. So that was totally nonpartisan, Pat, didn't you think? Okay, pretty close. Well, thank you all for being here. I'm really going to make one last announcement. This was our last State of event this year. So I'm going to look forward to next year. On January 19th, the partnership will hold its annual meeting, and that'll be the opportunity to introduce our new board chair at the partnership, Mark Watts. Mark, as most of you know, is president of Friedkin Group. He's been vice chair this year. He led our effort to achieve pension reform in Houston, working with the mayor, working with the legislature. So please join us on January 19th for the partnership's annual meeting. But between now and then, have a wonderful holiday season, and thank you all for being here. Bill, thank you for leading a great State of TMC. Thank you.